Okay, hopefully you can hear me. So let's do Magmar. Magmar is kind of like the knowledge check of Duelist 2. Don't get me wrong, they're still incredibly powerful and they're consistently one of the better factions or one of the balance concerns, just like Songhai constantly going off. Magmar can be really, really brutal because they have all the stuff where if you don't know it exists, you go, oh, I just lose. And it can really feel like Magmar gets to just roll their face on the keyboard and win. I promise you that as you learn how they play, you'll realize there's a lot more thought to how they're being played and whatnot, as long as you're not accidentally playing into all their best stuff. And they're still very legitimate. Like, I'm not going to downplay, they are good. They're just not going to seem as utterly disgustingly broken as they sometimes first appear. So, that said, we have all the cards right now. Some of these cards are really good in a like budget scenario, and I really do mean really good. In other games, you don't always get to like you can't prox. Or there's not like a good substitute for like certain planeswalkers or other cards, and War Golem doesn't replace Doctor Boom. They're both 7 drops, and one of them is amazing, and one of them is making fun of you. So that said, in Duelist, they did a really good job, I think, of trying to make every card have a purpose. So a lot of these cards are good. They're just not great if you have every single card 3 of infinite money situation. So keep that in mind as I review this, because it's going to sound like I say everything is good, and that's because I think most of it is, just maybe not top tier meta deck, top of the ladder good. So amplification, absolutely playable. Give a damage minion +3, +0. There are decks built around this because they have lots of ways of damaging the minions that they summon, and your opponent will damage them anyways. So in sorts of burn and rushdown style decks, this is great. Dampening Wave. Give a minion, this cannot counterattack. I am very suspicious of how good this is. Now, there are some really good artifacts in Magmar, and this can make it so that you can turn those artifacts, like you put an artifact on yourself because you're going to anyways, and then you cast this on a minion, and now you've just turned that artifact into removal without having to lose durability. Or it's just giving you a great trade. That said, I'm probably running maybe 1 or 2 of these, if ever. Flash Reincarnation. The next minion you play this turn costs 2 less. Deal 2 damage to it when played. Oh, look, it combos with that. This is gross. You need to know this exists because there's a card that we'll get to in the 6-drop slot that can be played on turn 4 and will just ruin your day if you don't know about it and don't position for it. So keep that in mind. And, remember, they can cheat anything out early. There's all sorts of cards in Neutral and Magmar that are even more brutal 2 turns earlier. Greater Fortitude, one of their starter spells, absolutely good. Give a minion +2/+2. Anything sticks, it's going to get stronger, which makes them very good at, again, playing anything with like higher health because it's more likely to stick. Greater Fortitude then makes it very efficient and usually gets it, more than 2 cards worth of value. General has Frenzy, Iridium Scale. It's an artifact. I don't know, honestly. Like, okay, so like you put this on your general, and now you attack a minion with Dampening Wave, and the minion can't counterattack, and you clear all the stuff around you and hurt their general. Yeah, let me put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if there's an artifact deck, and if this is in it. I just don't know if this is a 3 of. I would be surprised if it is, given that they have a lot of other ways to get Frenzy or just clear things. Mana Burn, Dispel spaces near your general. Absolutely good. Dispel is always good. This is mass AoE Dispel. It's good. It's good. It's good. Maybe not 3 of good, but at least 2 of. Dire Touch Frenzy. Give a minion +1/+0 in Frenzy. So there is a neutral 3-drop with Rush. It's a 3/2. This makes it a 4/2 with Frenzy. So on turn 5, you can rush that creature out and attack. You're probably not doing this in the money deck, like in Have Everything mode, because of things you'll see later, which happen on turn 6 or turn 4 if you use that flash spell from before, or turn 5 when we get to him. But it's not bad. Kujata? I don't know. 2/2 for 2. Your minions cost 1 less to play. When you play a minion, you deal 1 damage to it. Obviously, this is good. Cheating things out early is very powerful. This thing lets you cheat lots of good things out early. Go for it. You can run this in control. You can run this in non-control. Like, if you think about it, what this lets you do is at 9 mana, you can play this, and then rather than playing a 5-drop afterwards, you can play a 6-drop. So it's very powerful. or rather than playing a 7, you could play an 8 in theory. So it's still very powerful. There's not really 8 drops right now, but we'll get to that. Mind Steal. Your action bar becomes a copy of your opponent's action bar. Pretty sure it did not originally do this. No idea how good it is. Have fun with it. Natural Selection. Knowledge check card. It's probably the best removal in the game. Destroy a minion with the lowest attack. Any minion, though. It includes your own. So you've got to make sure that your minion's not the one with the lowest attack. And opponents who are smart and know that Vanar's in the meta will start playing one attack or even 0 attack minions just to try and block Natural Selection and get value while doing so. So keep that in mind. Tremor, stun enemies in the 2x2 area. I am suspicious that this is good. I swear this didn't exist. If it did, I don't remember it being played, which tells you a lot right there. You could try it, and again, in a budget deck, like I'd be fine playing this, but in any sort of like if I wanted to play Magmar and I was focusing on getting Magmar cards, I'm probably not touching this. Young Select Guard, 2/3 Rebirth. Rebirth means, let's see if it shows what it does. No, I can't right click on it. Okay. When this dies, it leaves. Excuse me, sorry about that. When this dies, it leaves behind an egg that's a 0/1 in the same space that it was when it died. This, first of all, continues to block movement, which is way more important than you think at first. And 2, means they have to do a second attack to clear it, or it's going to come back next turn. Anything with Rebirth is pretty good, especially at a 2-drop. You play this in a lot of Magmar decks. Chrysalis Burst. Summon an egg for each allied minion behind... Summon an egg of each allied minion behind that minion. I have no idea. I swear to God this didn't exist when I saw it. I don't think this is good. Maybe there's like a zoo thing. I have no idea. It's really hard for me to judge because, again, sweepers exist and whatnot, and an egg takes a whole turn to hatch to my memory. Oh, yeah, here's an egg. So, the opponent gets a turn to kill it. Really, really questioning if there's something. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes in a deck. So, have fun brewing. Earthwalker, 3 mana, 2/4. I thought he used to be a 3/3. I think he was a 3/3. Interesting. Still, I think he's very good. Grow +1/+1 means at the end of a turn, or at the start of your turn, he gains +1/+1. So you drop this guy, you hit something, maybe you kill it. He's now a 2/2. They probably kill your 2/2. If you don't, he's a 3/3. Like, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So anything with Grow is decent. This one's probably one of the better ones because it's low on curve, and the opponent's not going to have as many answers for it. And if this eats an answer, it means it's not something stronger. Kinetic Equilibrium. Deal 2 damage to a minion. Deal 2 damage to minions in a 3x3 area and give all allied minions in that area +2/+0. So again, if there's a zoo deck, this is going in it. Maybe Mechazor or something like that. 3x3 is a very big area, and 2 damage is a good, Tempest is 2 damage, but it hits everything and everyone, and this only damages minions. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I can see this being played. Worth trying. This guy always looks fun, but you got to realize when he hits the enemy general for Severin after you combo him with this, which is what everyone wants to do, he dies. So, I think he's junk. But again, you could give him Frenzy, you could give him some sort of other buff, and really get his attack up there. But it's a combo card that kind of, I think, needs too many pieces to get going. So maybe someone will prove me wrong, but to my knowledge, not worth the effort. Primordial Gazer, give a nearby minion +2/+2. Just a very powerful 3-drop. Turn 2, drop a Young Slivar, turn it into a 4/5 with Rebirth, and with a 4/2 to back it up. It's just good. Twin Fang, your general has an additional +2/+0 for each time an ally takes damage. This can add up really, really fast. In their artifact deck, it's not bad at all. That said, I didn't mess with it personally, and I've never seen it used that much because, again, some sort of zoo deck, it makes sense, but certain decks are really good at clearing artifacts, and this is kind of a do-nothing because when you play it, you don't immediately get value. Well, that's not totally true. What you do is you play this, then you attack with all your creatures that are on the board, so if you have creatures that stick, this is giving you at least maybe 2 to 4 damage, and that can be powerful. Vindicator, Rush. Give the first allied minion some nearby this each turn Rush. Obviously has gross combos. Giving things haste is good. So, I'll rush this guy out and that'll be cool. It is cool. I don't think it's that good. There's a lot of better rush targets, even in neutrals. So obviously, take a look around, see what you want. I don't actually play this in any of my builds, or the builds I used to play, but I'm sure it's playable. Adamantite Claws. The general has +3/+0. This cannot lose durability during your turn. This is removal. 4 mana, turn your guy into a 5 damage beater that doesn't lose removal for it. It forces the opponent to kill it on their turn, or else it's not going to die. So there's lots of ways that you can turn this in. Like, I ran this in almost every single Magmar deck. It's just really, really good. It helps you kill them quicker. It helps you remove their threats. It forces them into trades that they don't want to do, and it forces them into attacking you, which if you planned for by putting healing in your deck, which, by the way, I say this in every video, I think healing is really good in this game. It's not like Magic or something where, oh, incidental healing's fine, but otherwise it's whatever. No, healing is good. Which brings us to Earth Spear. If you're playing Control or something, I think this is a 1 or a 2 of. Now, to be fair, for the same mana, you could be playing the 4/4 for 4 that heals for 4, which you should. If you're even considering playing this, you should be playing that first. But yeah, I think 1 or 2 of these has use, just because 8 is such a ton of health, and it will just drastically change the board state when they realize, oh, you're not going to be lethal next turn. Eggmorph. Transform a minion into an egg of itself. If it's already an egg, hatch it instead. Once again, eggs are a 0/1. This is removal. You turn an enemy minion into an egg, and then you hit it with your general. Congratulations, for 4 mana, you've killed an enemy. Or, rarely, yes, you can hatch one of your eggs early. It's usually not done that way because it's like you'll find out that a lot of the stuff that gets an egg doesn't matter as much. Like, yeah, it's nice to pop this guy early so they can't kill him, but it's better to keep this to remove whatever they try to kill him with. So, really good removal. Just know that. And it's why it's very important to try and make sure Magmar has no board, because, or not no board, but has a minimal board, because things like this exist and just ruin your day. Eludicator. Deal 4 damage to your general, 5/4 rush. I have no memory of this existing, but I'm sure you could play this in some sort of aggro deck as like a curve topper. Low to the ground, like lots of rush stuff, just beat them to death. Grimrock, grow, +2/+2, 2/5. The bigger brother of the other guy. What can I say? It's like him, kind of good. A little bit worse because it comes a little bit later, but hey, bigger brother of the other guy. A little bit worse because it comes a little bit later, but really good stats. They really don't want that rebirth to get off. It depends on how easily you can protect that egg, or how many resources that egg will draw out, but it's not bad. Colossus. I do love this card. I do. Having it become a 6/11 is just silly fun. That said, most of the time my opponent will like drop a Colossus, and they'll put it away from me, which I think is already incorrect. If you drop a Colossus, put it on the front line. 7 health is a lot. Force the opponent to think about dealing with it. And then, like, use it to block them from getting to use it to block a creature. Don't try to hide this because you think it'll win the game. Because what happens is then it does nothing that turn, of course, because it's summoning sick. And this might be worth rushing out, by the way. And then on my turn, I go, that's cute. I play my turn as if that thing doesn't exist. On their turn, it becomes a 4/11 or a 6/11. The only question is, did I try to stay out of the attack range? Because the thing is I'm just going to dispel this. It's going to attack one of my creatures, remove it, and then I'm going to drop an Ephemeral Shroud or some other dispel on this guy, and it's going to go away. And now it's gone. So keep in mind that this kind of effect on this expensive of a creature, you probably don't want to drop it turn 5 and have that be your only play. You want to wait till like turn 7 when you can drop this in a 2-drop and you have a lot going on, not just one little thing. Metamorphosis. Transform every minions into Magma until the end of your next turn. So a Magma is a 1/1 minion. Okay, this card used to be broken. It turned all enemy minions into eggs, and that was just cruel because eggs don't attack back. That said, this is still really good, I think. The enemy's got a great board of like big creatures. You drop Metamorphosis, turn them all into 1/1s, and your general removes one of them, and then your other minions remove the others, and you board wipe. This is probably one of the strongest board wipes in the game still. The good news is, at least if you have like a 1 HP creature, it still trades with it, whereas before you got to do it for free, and it was just gross. Plasma Storm. Another knowledge check. Destroy minions with 3 or less attack. If you are playing against Magmar, and you are getting to turn 5 or later, you need to think about this. Do not drop like a bunch of creatures to trap them and think, haha, I've got him. Because if they all have 3 or less attack, he's going to play Plasma Storm and go, thank you, I win now. Spirit Harvester. This card has won me more games since this game started up than probably any other card. And that's because I'm not playing it. I'm playing Songhai. And people keep playing this and not realizing that it deals 2 damage to other minions, all of them, yours and the enemy's. So don't drop this unless you're sure you want to. It is a very powerful card. That said, it's not as good as it first looks. The stats are okay. The effect is okay. But be aware, it could blow yourself up. Summon 2 exact copies of an allied minion nearby that minion. You use this on rush things. So, for example, this is like a burn finisher. You can play that 3-drop rush creature, the Saber Spine Tiger, play this on it, and now you're dealing 9 damage from hand for 9 mana. Or you could play the Tiger and not have it die because you buffed it, and then the opponent can't deal with it, and then you fractal it next turn, and again, you kill them. So I'd play it maybe as a one-of, probably. And maybe there's some cool combo deck where you play more of these because you want to spam the field. And I'm sure there's a bunch of fun brewer decks, but yeah. Another knowledge check. Manticore. Mechanitor? I don't know. Warbeast. 6 mana, 4/4 Frenzy Rush. This comes from hand, rushes out, attacks, kills everything around it, and you go, oh, I didn't know they can do that. And then you lose. You've got to keep this creature in mind. And it only gets stronger as they have a bunch of different ways of buffing it on, turn 7, 8, and 9, where they've got 7, 8, and 9 mana. Just crazy good. They can pop this as early as turn 4 by making it take some damage. So, or heck, in ideal situations, turn 3. But that's maybe less worth it because it comes out with 1 health, and that kind of ruins some of the point of this. But, this card goes in almost every Magmar deck. At least 2 of, if not 3. Modded Spell Force. Gerald becomes a 10/10. I think this goes in Magmar Control as like a one-of because it's basically a heal from hand of the game. Or a finisher. So you're down to like 4 health and you've dropped all your other heals, and then you drop this, and now you're back up at 10 health, and so you're just out of range, and you get to clear a creature or smack the enemy for 10. I would not blame you for skipping it, though, and it's hard to say how good that is, but I'd be very careful with it. Like, I wouldn't play this unless I'm getting lethal, or unless I know there's lethal on board if I don't. Silthar Elevator, good control finisher. 8/8 Rebirth. At the end of your turn, summon an egg of this on a random nearby space. So this just slowly starts taking over the game because it makes more of itself. If you don't answer it immediately, it's a massive, massive problem. And it's very hard to answer immediately because you have to kill its egg and you have to kill its 8/8 body. And when you kill its 8/8 body, then you have to kill the egg it leaves behind there. Really, really frustrating to deal with. Very, very good. Big reason why Magmar controls a thing. This you can get out in ideal cases on turn 4, and it's mean. It's very mean. Unstable Leviathan, 4 damage to a random unit. If the unit is ally, give it +1/+. I don't know if this is what this originally did, but I'd say pass, personally. There's maybe a cool deck where this works. It can hurt you. Random unit means enemy general, you, or enemy minion, or one of your allied minions. So careful with it, so you don't coin flip and lose on something that you had won otherwise. All right, neutrals. I'm going to rush through these. I've heard Mechazor is good in Magmar. I can't think of exactly why that would be the case, but if you want to try a Mechazor deck, someone said that, and I don't know who's good and who's not anymore, so maybe it's true. Apparently did good in the very first tournament, but things are weird, so who knows. 2 drops are good. 1 drop, this guy's good. These are good. Things are good. Blah, 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 blah. Common stuff. Shroud is less good because they've got that other Dispel and Mana Burn, but it's still very good. In any sort of aggressive deck, this is a great drop to just, burn them down quickly. Healing Mystic, always good. Keep it in mind. Primus Fist, almost always good. Keep it in mind. Piercing Mantis, better in Magmar if you're doing the buff stuff, because they'll be like, oh, it's a Mantis, whatever. You'll attack and get a Frenzy. I don't have a bunch of creatures on the board. And then you buff the Mantis through the roof, and you do like 12 damage. Still probably not played in Have Everything mode. Rock Pulverizer I like because it's a 1/4, as is this. All 3 of these are quite good in Magmar because you can have them stick and then buff them. And then now it's, a 3/6 or something like that. And that's a much better creature. So anything that can stick and stay alive is pretty good. Again, 1/4. As always, interesting to know about. As always, can counter entire decks. I always say if you want to do Zoo, this is it, but I think Zoo's kind of a trap. So, I think this could be really, really good in Magmar. Um, you've already got that guy who can let you rush him out, and there are ways to get really high attack creatures out there. I don't think this is worth playing the 7-2. So I could see this being really good in Magmar. Prismatic Illusionist, possibly. They have a lot of control stuff, and this just gives more value to your control spells. As always, kind of budget removal. As I said, very, very good card, especially with things like Fractal Replication. Probably not. Again, kind of always good in control decks just because of all the value you can get and having something that you can buff, because there's always something on the board for you to sacrifice, buff, do whatever with, is very powerful. Not bad if you're doing Mechazor. We already talked about it, though. Well, even if you're not doing Mechazor, it's not bad, but it's even better for him. Probably a good target to rush out off that guy, because it's way cheaper than the Manticore Warbeast, and it's only one less damage frenzy, and you're probably going to buff it anyways, so worth keeping in mind. If you're doing a Vindicator deck, is that what it's called? Where's my Rushy guy? Vindicator guy. If you're doing a Vindicator deck, I think I'd definitely run that. As always, I really do. So, like, this Dying Wish draw 2 cards, I've been skipping this guy in almost every other video. I don't think it's actually that strong, just because the stats are so bad that and there are going to be situations where you don't want the 2 draws are just lost. So that's usually why I skip over him. He's maybe better in Magmar, but I doubt it. Again, not bad for Zoo. Again, great in an artifact deck. 3-of in any control deck, 3-of in many decks. If you don't know what you're doing, throw 3 in there. He's really, 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 really good. This is an okay control finisher. Nah. AoE, dispel AoE damage. They probably both don't get played in Magmar, because Magmar has no problem dealing with lots of creatures. There's probably some gimmicky nonsense with this in Magmar, especially like getting a Manticore Warbeast out for 1, and then buffing it, and then, clearing the board again. As always, tech call, but a pretty good one. Magmar struggles with mobility, so especially if you're doing like an artifact beatdown deck, this can be a good 2-of to help you either get out or to get in and murder your opponent. Maybe somewhere in here. I have no idea. Always good in any sort of control deck. This can go even in legit, even in have everything mode. I would play this in control decks. This is, again, one of the best cards in the entire game, in my opinion. Just well designed, always good. I think they might have a deck for this. Because again, there's a lot of like spell Magmar control out there where this just starts generating insane value if you can't answer it. Tech stuff, always good control, always good in certain matchups. I don't think you can do anything super special with this. I didn't mention, in the Vitruvian video, how you can put their attack to 0 and steal them, but oh well. Very, very good in Magmar because he leaves a lot of bodies. Now, it does block your own sweepers sometime, but if you're playing a lot of buffs, it's definitely it usually has a body survive, and then you can buff it, so he's worth thinking about. And then again, the other control finishers, this guy, this guy, this gal, this gal, this guy, and then maybe this guy. Again, I'm pretty sure these are never playable. So, looking at Magmar, did I even make a Magmar deck? No, it's the one deck I didn't make. So I'm going to quickly go through. No, I'm not. It'll take too long. Let me just say, the general Magmar I played was sort of just a kind of Magmar good stuff, a little lower to the ground, Gazer, Young Slithar, Veteran Slithar, Eggmorph, Earth Sphere, Adamite Claws, Primordial Gazer. Yeah, I already mentioned him. Maybe Veteran Slither, Metamorphosis, Plasma Storm, and like Warbeast. It was just pretty much that. I think I had a few tech things because I didn't have a full collection, so I was like, oh, I'll swap this in here, swap this in there. And then, the usual 2-drops and whatnot, like, hey, you play the healer because the healer's good. Who knew? This thing goes everywhere. Reminder. It doesn't have to go everywhere, but it absolutely can go everywhere. If you're ever like, I don't know what to do, start there. So that's it for the Magmar. That was pretty quick because I'm just not as good with them these days, but and I don't have a deck built. So hope you have fun.